to the story I've been trying to write in my head for a while now. I hope you'll stick around. I hope you'll enjoy it. But I can never put this to paper because I'm not good with my writing or my reading. And that has to do with a bit of my autism. So I hope you enjoy, stick around, but I'll let you know now. This is set in a different world, so expect the unexpected, and enjoy the story. Our main character's name is Echo. Not that that's really important, but I'm sure it pertains to the story. Anyway. As we arrive with Echo in a forest that is known by the name of Ruby. I'll get started. She looked around the forest. She could see that the forest looked a bit special. But as she looked around, she wasn't sure what about it was special. She could feel the gentle grass she could feel the grass gently touching her paws and her finding its way in between her paws and making it's feeling quite, as she said, this grass feels quite soft, as she gently patted her feet up and down kind of playfully. Excuse, we have a guest, being a zombie. Excuse me, no more interruptions. Zombies, I hope. Anyway, where was I? That's right. And she playfully patted her feet up and down. Grass, as it seems to get in between her pads of her paws. She says, "That tickles." As if it surprised her a bit. As she darted towards a few of the bushes. She didn't realize their color, though, so she takes a few steps back. It's on the outside of the bushes. And sees they have ruby red leaves, as if it was the middle of fall. But she knows it's summer. So that kind of sets her off a bit. Well, maybe not her. Maybe the people who are listening. But she pays it no mind, though, and enters the bushes. And gently sniffs the air. She's a bit hungry. She sniffs the air and looks around. She picks up the scent of what smells like a nearby mouse. As she smiles with a bit of thrill to her, she kind of wags, as you can hear the jumping of her tail, as it gently brushes through the grass. She proceeds to follow the scent by gently closing her eyes and letting herself go to where the scent leads. As she does this, she notices the snapping of branches, the bramble nearby, and a small run of a river slowly rushing by. She stops when she hears the river. She realizes how close it is. She stops, she opens her eyes, noticing that this creek or river is pretty decently sized, it was about medium size, with rocks sitting around the outer rim, and some parts of the river are still blocked by some of the rocks, as it seems to have small ledges or small waterfalls rolling down the hill. As she seemed to be on a hill, she looked down towards it. She looks up to the trees to get back to what she was doing, finding the scent. She notices the trees have the same color of the leaves of the bush. They're all red, almost as red as blood. But again, she's not worried by this. She proceeds to keep following the smell. She hears the crushing of the grass behind her as her footing picks up in speed. As this gets a little faster and a little faster. She finally finds where the main scent of the smell is. As she opens her eyes, she's realized she's in a bush. She brushed through a few of the branches coming in, but being so focused on the smell, she didn't feel them at first. As She looks around to make sure there's no competition, because she wants to make sure she can get the full opportunity of this meal without having to scare it off or fight off any incoming competition or any incoming other predators. So he takes a quick little glance around and doesn't see any eyes this time. My God, that scared the crap out of me. Is there another zombie? Oh, we're good. Don't mind me talking to myself here, folks. Okay, Miracle. Anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah, we just got into the bush and she just found the main scent of the smell. She slowly puts her paws down and goes into more of a pouncing position with, well, her butt being up in the air. And as she lets her body follow up with that to let her legs get a stronger position, as she lets the muscles gather strength there for a few seconds as she pounces, letting her paws spread forwards along with it as the wind brushes through her fur. She feels a cold brush of wind through her fur as it binds and finds its way through, making her feel a little bit cooler. She manages to catch the mouse in her mouth, killing it. She always hates doing, but she knows she has to because she needs to eat. As she sets it down, begins to pry out the meat, savoring the flavor. But as she hears the rustling of the bushes, as she realizes the scent must be attracting other predators, she then picks up the mouse, proceeds to run deeper into the forest with it. Running it through the branches, she crushes a few, making a crackling noise. As she proceeds to get a little further on, as she does so, she manages to find her way to a small den, or fox den, that seems to be mostly abandoned. So unknowingly, she enters it. Oh, I'm saying that for foreshadowing. I'm not explaining. As unknowingly, she enters it. As she does so, it has a warm but earthy smell. That should, as she realizes, that should deter the other predators, because they'll no longer be able to track her. Because this warm, earthy smell overpower her own. She smiles at that notion and keeps feeding on the mouse, finishing it off in a few bites now. She leaves the mouse's bones down there. But as she looks towards the little mouse, with a bit of a frown per se, because she's always felt herself to be gentle, she, even though where, thanks it. She slowly to more of middle of the afternoon time. She realizes this means she should get back to her own pack or den. As foxes work a little differently here. They work in packs. They're similar to wolves, but much smaller. They usually have a much smaller pack as well, ranging of a number between 5 and 6. So it's not different for her. For us, this would be out of the ordinary. The most foxes we see is 1 or 2 at a time. That would only be a couple. But as she realizes this as it's getting close to the afternoon, she realizes she should get back to her pack. As she starts going back between the bushes and following through, she brushes through the bushes. She snaps a few of the branches as she hears something that wasn't her. She realizes those other noises before were her, but this noise, and as she smells, this smell, as she says it, isn't me. This is really odd. As she looks around, quickly glancing, she smells the air again. She hears something dart through the trees. She looks up towards them. Wait for this little to go. Seconds. I just want to make sure this is all coming through. There it goes. There we go. She looks up towards the trees and sees through the bramble of leaves. The leaves are kind of bending in towards the forest, like they're bending down towards the forest ground. And they look like they've been disturbed. But and when this thing seems to move, it seems to bounce the leaves up and down. But to her, there appears to be nothing there. As she looks at it again, second guessing herself, thinking, is my mind playing tricks on me? Am I going crazy? As it seems to jump out of the tree, settling on the forest ground, it lets its fur color shift, as it looks to be about the size of a cougar, but it's a wolf. As it says to her, far from home, aren't we, little one? As she darts back a bit in fear at the size of this wolf. As it says, there's no need to be scared. I'm not here to eat you, as it bites down on its teeth. I'm more curious on why you're so far from home. If that makes any sense. She looks to it and says, I was simply trying to avoid getting spotted by, well, I guess one of you. One of my predatory kind, because I just finished having a meal. You see him cock back his neck and lean up his ear towards the sky, as he says, but only slightly towards the sky, just the tip of it. Says, why didn't you share with any of the birds? Do you not think we were worth sharing to? And she shakes her head in a no-like fashion. Of course I thought you were worth sharing to. It's just it was only one mouse. I've got to eat. As there's a creeper behind me. Scare the crap out of me when I'm telling a story. Thanks, creeper. Sorry. She says, I've got to eat. I can't exactly be giving one mouse to everyone. I wouldn't be able to survive then. How would I live but a day? I suppose it's a fair enough argument. But at the same time, we're all hungry, aren't we? Every now and then. But nonetheless, I guess I should let you head back home. But no word of this to your pack, hear me? He smiles, with his teeth at a grin. He lets the sunlight twinkle off of them. As he lets himself camouflage back into the background of the forest, she loses complete sight of him, but sees him dart through the bushes on the left. It seems to push the bushes out of the way. And says subconsciously to herself, I hope I don't run into him again. He's always a bit scary. She darts through the bushes towards her pack as she's picking up on their scent. As she cracks a few branches and as you hear them snap. As this almost offsets her, but she realizes suddenly and takes a large gasp of relief. It's only me. She manages to get back to her pack. This part of the forest is rather dark for us. This part of the forest is so dark to the point it looks like it's night, but the leaves only appear to be a rouge red, which honestly offsets the contrast of what time it is actually. As I think I'll end off the chapter here, folks. I hope you enjoyed the story a little. I think that's a long enough chapter. What do you think? I put her to sleep.